Bandit and Franscar. So, sugar 'em up, howdy y'all. Let's get on down to Texas. Now, I actually really like this map. This map and, oh shoot, I forget the name of it. The one that looks like Star Station, probably my favorite Starbow maps, but, yeah, here we go. Let's get the overlay set up. I want to thank you guys for joining me today on the Starbow cast. It's been a bit of a long trek. We had IEM going on as well, so you guys missed some pretty good games. Highly recommend going back through some of the VODs. One of the series I would really recommend is anything we cast today involving the Red Bandit has always had these really weird, crazy games. Do check them out through the VODs. I'll have these up on YouTube eventually, of course, youtube.com/mapcontrolco. But, guys, without further ado, spawning in the lower left corner of the map. Having race picked and race switched to Protoss, no longer Zerg, it's the blue Protoss, Franscar. And his opponent in the top right, the red Zerg player, TEHREDBANDIT. Now look, I don't do a lot of this. I'm going to take my turn to do some self-advertising real quick. I've talked about StarbowMod.com. I'll bring it up one last time actually. StarbowMod.com, I don't own that site. It's not mine, but it's the people who help put this together. It's the people who track the ladder. Another 10 bull with gas coming out to Red Bandit. If it's not broken, don't fix it. He's going to go with some lane aggression once again. We'll keep an eye on that, but quickly while this gets underway, guys, if you're new to the channel on Base Rate TV, hit that follow button. I really enjoy casting various StarCraft 2 matches, but we've also been covering a lot of Starbow. I specifically have been covering a lot of Starbow, actually, as we cast almost every single one of the ESL Cups. I don't know why they were discontinued, but they were. So Starbow is picking it up with his bi-weekly tournament here with the Ladder Cup. I've cast the Starbow Invitation, which was a lot of fun. Big recommendations for that was Ryang versus Innovation Group B. If you guys like Starbow and you want to see the sickest TVT ever, check that out. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys will follow the channel. I hope you can hit me up on Twitter and come back for some more in the future as we cast some regular StarCraft 2 as well, which again is why you're seeing me mince a bit of knowledge here, because, you know, casting StarCraft 2 for about a year and a half, things like Stalkers not having high ground vision are things I'm not privy to because I'm used to normal Stalkers not having high ground vision. But we've seen some fun stuff so far today, and the finals hasn't disappointed so far. Game number 2 already underway, and now those slings are about to pop out. We'll see if these can get much damage done. But again, for Franscar, all he needs to do is throw down that gateway, get a full wall off, and he's good to go. He sees the lings too with this probe. That's what's key. He knows this is coming. He might not know this is like metabolic boost behind it, but if he can discern anything from last game, metabolic boost finished up around 4 minutes. He knew that happened because that's when they dive through the cannons. Probes are pulled, but I don't think probes being pulled are what you need to do, Franscar. He's very much intentionally trying not to fully wall this off. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this or not. It's going to take too long for the lings to kill the probes. The cannon will kill all the lings. So, I mean, Franscar's making the right moves right now, but I kind of feel like a full wall off and just keep mining might be like the safer way to go about this for now. Tear down the pylon later. I mean, you're not moving out as a Protoss player anytime soon if you go for a Forge Expand. Not in StarCraft 2 and certainly not in Starbow. Yeah, okay, there we go. Fully walls it off. I like that a lot better. It's a lot safer, too. But this prompts Red Bandit to just take a third early on. So, not unlike regular StarCraft 2. If your opponent plays greedy, so should you. So, we'll see if he can... I mean, we've seen some really fun early game stuff. And I know for a fact from other games we've cast, Red Bandit can play the late game. But the early game seems to be where he thrives. This time, however, not going to be afforded that opportunity. Now that being said, I'm just talking about like the very early game here. It's not at all impossible for him to come across with some other units quickly, but... Oh man, that looks so weird. Again, if you guys are new to Starbow, this is what the larva injects look like in Starbow. It hastens the rate at which larva spawns, but it doesn't produce 3 extra ones through eggs like you're used to seeing in StarCraft 2. So again, this is why we see a lot of macro hatcheries get made. This is why we start seeing a lot more bases being taken, because larva production is a lot more... It's more difficult to secure, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, you're never going to have 80 larvae at any given time to like go for a full remax. So that's why it's more important not to throw your units away as casually. And yeah, I see people asking about creep spread. Again, creep is changed pretty significantly too in Starbow. It does not give any form of a speed increase at all. I think it only affects queens in that regard. But that being said, it provides a little bit of a regen bonus as the trade-off. So you've already got your Zerg innate regen. It gets a little bit better on top of creep, and that's why you see drones will sometimes live with 1 health in scenarios where they should have been killed through like 2 shots type thing, just because the regen will actually tick while that's happening. But alright, still posturing around the map with some lings. He knows he can't get a lot done, but having control, know what your opponent's doing, and make sure they don't take a third is always a key thing. Yeah, a couple lings just chipping away. So that's my Zergling impression. A couple more Zerglings gonna run past the Zealot, but I mean he's got enough of them. He's very intentionally hiding these Lings, guys. Like he doesn't want his opponent to know he's going for this Ling all in up 3 bases. I mean 14 drones is fine. Like in regular StarCraft 2, 14 drones is terrible. It's abysmal, but in Starbow, it's fine. Now the problem is there's so many cannons here. Oh god, there's so many cannons here. These Lings are gonna chip away at the Zealots, but I mean this was not worth it. He just traded out so many Lings for nothing. 13 Lings dead, 1 Zealot, not at all worth. You know what would be sick actually? With the dead space on Texas, this is the big problem around all of your bases. There's some dead space no matter where you look. I would really love to see Red Bandit go for lair, get a Nidus Worm, drop it over here, and flood the main. Because the one thing he's never going to do is break these cannons. The Zealots are here. It's a full wall off behind the Zealots. Like, these cannons will not die without any sort of ranged assistance. So, what I would really love to see is a Nidus Worm. That being said, he's going to go for the Hydroset instead and play a more typical bust through the front. Try and overwhelm his opponent, but I mean, Franscar, this is his economy. This is his bonus right here. He could just keep putting down more and more cannons, and his opponent's got no workers. He's coming on 3 bases. That's great. But until he starts droning up, he's going to be behind economically for a long time. And that being said, we actually look at the income. And it's not exactly bad for Red Bandit, but it's not good either is the problem. And yeah, someone in chat saying Franscar is awesome. Sorry, Redox at 6 saying Franscar is awesome playing random at all. I don't know the specifics of it. It's not that he's playing random. It's more like he race switches. So doesn't stick to just Zerg, doesn't stick to just Protoss. And he came to the finals as Zerg, so I'm a little shocked that he decided to play Protoss. But I guess like most players, mirror matchups are not an entertaining thing. Okay, well, tearing down the pylon. Looks like he wants to push out now that he's got charge available on these lots. Again, they move at pie-fast speeds. Templar Archives is on the way, so whether it's Dark Templar, whether it's Archons, it's going to be a huge asset to have. But throwing away these Lings in the middle of the map, disengaging and now engaging with everything, gets a full surround, but Zealots are still pretty beefy even without that. And they got the +1 weapon upgrades as well. It's still going to shred these Lings to bits, but here come the Hydralisks behind this. And this is going to start looking a little bit reminiscent of that last game. If you guys remember, there's like 4 cannons to defend that one too, and the Hydras eventually chipped away at them. But the Lings, they just need to be the buffer between the Hydralisks and the Zealots, and these Hydralisks will be good to go. Still going kind of all in with this. He made a couple of drones behind this, but I mean 17 workers. Oh, it's going to be hard to sustain. Okay. Lings are going to get completely shredded here. No more buffer for the Hydralisks, and they do not have muscular augments, so there's no kiting going on this time, which is why we see him just kind of sitting still. Unfortunately, this is not going to work, guys, and this has backfired immensely. Muscular Augments is on the way, but he's thrown away so much at this point, and he's got no workers to speak of. I mean, again, like it's not like his economy's in the gutter, but it's not where it can match Franscar's. Franscar can just keep sending units across the map and funneling and funneling and funneling, and eventually Red Bandit will just bleed out. Now he's going to have a Queen for defense, and that's cool. But I mean, that's kind of like A for effort type thing. I guess it saves the Hydralisk, so I shouldn't be so sarcastic about it, but I mean, what's going to save in the Hydralisk if you're not going to be able to fight with the follow-up? Storm's going to make this even more problematic. The reason Red Bandit was able to bully Franscar so heavily last game, guys, was primarily because it was only Zealots. There was no Dragoons behind it. There was nothing else to deal with it. But with Storms down, with Archons available, with some Dark Templar even mixed into it, Hydralisks alone aren't going to cut it. And Lings, they're not going to buffer the way you want them to. This game is looking really bad for Red Bandit. But I've said that before. He turned it around, so I don't know, it'd be cool. But I don't see him winning this one. And now granted, Storm's not quite done yet. It's on the way. And let's not forget, Storm hits for a little bit harder in Starbow than it does in regular StarCraft, 112 instead of 80. So it doesn't just barely kill the Hydralisks, but will straight up kill the Hydralisks. There we go. Storm is revealed at this point too. Forge is under attack. Really key that he keeps alive. I guess the Dragoon's actually being walled out by this pylon. Oh, that sucks for Sim City, but he doesn't need to kill it if he can walk around. Dragoon, what are you doing? Alright, well, he assists Red Bandit by killing one of his own pylons there, but again, I really feel that Franscar's in a good spot this game. Coming up on his 3rd base. Yeah. Nah, it's just Hydralisks at this point. I mean, Storms and Zealots alone will deal with this. Now he's getting some Dragoons mixed into this. He'll have some ranged of his own. Singularity Charge has been delayed because he didn't primarily focus on Dragoons, but Singularity Charge adds 2 range to the Dragoon guys, so makes it pretty darn good. Here in Texas, y'all. So I can mix through about 5 different accents and do them all poorly. But yeah, with upgrades with this, I mean, still on 17 workers, Red Bandit, man. I applaud and appreciate the way you play this game, but it's not gonna work. In fact, Dark Templars are even thinning the herd more so. So, cleans up the Dark Templar with that Overseer. Great. Fantastic. More cannons coming down. I actually really like this. Like, most of the time, cannons, they don't seem that effective. And so you see like 1 or 2 get made. But by putting 4 down, and the fact that you can chrono boost them in Starbow, it makes cannons insanely more effective. And, yeah. Chrono boost makes the cannons attack 50% faster, for those who don't know, but still goes down pretty darn quick. As these funnel in, they gotta be careful, because one storm placed here really well will kill all these Hydralisks, and he knows this. That's why he's backing up and being a bit tentative. I gotta tell you, like, as far as what I've seen so far, these two, and I know this is a lot to base off of 2 games, it really does feel like Red Bandit's got the superior micro when it comes to dancing around, but as far as his macro goes, I mean, 23 workers, not knowing when to drone, dedicating so much like this, I just don't like his macro play. And it wasn't even just this game, it was like that. His macro, it's delayed, I feel, a lot of the time, but he ends up doing enough damage to make it not matter. But because he did no damage this game, we're really seeing just how much that hurts. Now, it's half the supply at this point, 51 to 122, and I know, and you know, and we know that this is a slow bleed out, but Red Bandit might think he's in here in a better way than he does. Or rather, better way than he is. But an army is wrapping around from behind to ensure there's not going to be any more kiting away from this. Zealots are going to connect, Storms go down, and these Hydralisks are in full retreat, but can't quite catch them. Pretty good Storms. They do catch a couple Hydralisks there. Nothing too crazy. Not quite beautiful Storms level of good, but not bad. Now we got a Warp Prism loaded up. This is going to actually help a lot too. It's not the fastest thing in the universe, but still allows you to wrap around. And again, this little ridge here, guarding this base, this would never exist if force fields existed in Starbow, guys. Just saying. But Lurker Den's on the way. What's nice is if you morph the low health Hydras, I guess you'll have some nice full health Lurkers, but not sure that's going to really matter a lot. As he gets a couple storms from behind, he could sandwich in. He's going to go for the bases, but he doesn't need to. Just kill the Hydralisks. That will force your opponent to tap out. But perhaps not realizing just how far ahead he is, he's going to come in and see like, man, there's well, there's not a lot going on here. Get some drone kills, and that's kind of cool. But perhaps now fully aware just how much his opponent was not droning for the duration of this game. Continue to move out here, we'll catch some more, but actually storms his Zealots way more than he storms the Hydralisks. I always hated that about Protoss. Starcraft, Starbow, doesn't matter. Storm Zealots, no problem. Anyways, where did that Warp Prism go? Did it die? Oh shoot, I guess he lost the Warp Prism. But still gonna pick off these Hydralisks. There's even more down here. Storm's just gonna slap down. With 1 or 2 more, he cleans up all these Hydralisks for sure. Too much at this point. Good game, finally called. I'm sorry, there wasn't a fun way to spin that game. That was a 18-minute bleed out session, ladies and gentlemen. But all right, that brings Franscar up now 1-1, ties it up, evens up the series. That'll give Red Bandit map pick, of course. But we'll see what does the next match ends up being. What his next map ends up being is there's been some new ones added to Starbow. Actually, we're just gonna jump right into Fighting Spirit. So we may not even do ads. Let me ask these guys real quick.